Hello, BMFox here. The Call of War Railroad Gun is often mistaken as Schwerer Gustav, the biggest railroad gun ever made. When I'm playing the Axis Doctrine, I also like to pretend that I'm using Schwerer Gustav as its range and firepower are superior to the railroad guns of the other doctrines in the game. However, the Call of War railroad guns are the Krupp K5, as you can see here in the video. Krupp is the manufacturer of both Schwerer Gustav, the K5, and the howitzer nicknamed Big Bertha. Krupp's K5 series had a gun barrel of 21.5 meters, that's 71 feet. The gun barrel was mounted on a gondola which permitted only vertical elevation of the weapon. This gondola was then mounted on a pair of 12-wheel bogies designed to be operated on a commercial and a military rails built to German standards. The main barrel of the K5 is 283 millimeters or 11.1 inches in caliber. As ammunition, high explosive projectiles were used with the K5. They weighed 255 kilograms or 562 lb and contained a charge of 30.5 kilograms, 67 lb of TNT. The K5 had a travel length of 27 meters, which is 89 feet, and weighed 218 tons. It could shoot 15 rounds an hour at a range of 64 kilometers, which is 40 miles. The front of the railway car had to be pointed in the general direction of the target. A section of a curved track was needed to change the aim of the gun horizontally. A more versatile solution, however, was to run the gun onto a turntable so that you could point at any direction you wanted. The Germans designed a portable turntable just for this purpose. Krupp produced 8 K5 railway guns between 1934 and 1936. Production led to 8 guns being in service for the invasion of France, of which 3 were installed on the English Channel coast and were intended to target British shipping in the Channel, but they proved unsuccessful. Over the course of the war, 24 K5 railway guns have been produced. When the battle at Anzio started in February 1944, the German commander General Albert Kesselring had Leopold and Robert, 2 of the K5 railway guns, sent by rail to a town named Ciampino. This location was in the Albino Hills, about 19 miles from the Anzio beachhead. German records show that a K5 started shelling the beach on February 7th, about 2 weeks after the landing started. The Americans, they had always doubted the value of railroad guns. After all, they were limited, traveling only where there was a railway line, right? When the few first rounds started hitting the beach, the Americans quickly realized that the railway guns were not so quite obsolete. The huge shells passing overhead sounded like an express train and quickly gained the name the Anzio Express. The soldiers, not realizing that there were actually 2 guns involved, dubbed the name of the cannon to Anzio Annie. The Germans had cleverly located their firing position in the Ciampino railway yards near a railway tunnel. The man in charge of the guns, Colonel Friedrich Fillenzer, ordered them parked in the tunnel at any time they were not actually firing, so they were well out of sight of any Allied aircraft patrol. To further confuse things, the Germans, they've also built several dummy railway guns. The Germans also set up flash simulators across the countryside at night, so that it would look like muzzle flashes of cannon and confuse the Allies further about the location of the railroad guns. The typical routine for the use of guns was to prepare them for operation as much as possible in the safety of the tunnel. It took between 4 to 7 minutes to reload and fire the gun. This meant in half an hour or so they could fire 6 to 8 rounds, usually enough to find and devastate the target, and then the gun would disappear back into the safety of the tunnel. The Allied forces were unable to locate and destroy the railroad gun. Instead, they bombed the railways and in the suspected region, enabling the Germans to resupply. The railroad gun wreaked havoc to the Allied camp, the port, the navy and supply lines, they've held 50,000 men hostage over the course of 3 months. The secret of the tunnel was finally discovered on May 28. It forced the Germans to retreat. Unfortunately, therefore, the Germans, there were no working rail lines in the north for the guns to make their escape. It was decided instead to take them to the port of Civitavecchia in the hopes that they could be removed on barges. These never came, however, and the Germans were forced to render the guns unusable and to leave before the Allied troops arrived. Leopold, nicknamed Anzio Annie, was shipped to Aberdeen, Maryland in the United States and can be visited in the Ordnance Museum at the Aberdeen Proving Grounds. A second surviving gun can be seen at the Battery Todd Museum near Auditingen in the north of France. Thanks a lot for watching, and I hope you've learned something about the Call of War railroad gun. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please subscribe and hit that bell button for notifications. And I want to say a warm thank you to my members and elite members for supporting this channel.